Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the meditation time that we put aside to begin every service at the Center for Spiritual Living in Eugene. I am Reverend Trish Mackey, and it is my delight and honor to be with you today to lead us to this time of silence, time of introspective thoughts, and listening to what it is that comes up in our hearts and our minds and our bodies as we look at the beautiful slides that we will be showing and with my words. So thank you again for being with us. And I invite you right now is to just sit back and allow yourself to be present, totally present, body, mind, and spirit in this moment. So taking a deep breath and letting it out easily and gently. I know that as I open myself up, I allow the brightness of the spirit of the one mind, the one universe, to fill my sight, to allow within anything that we see as far as weather, to know that the sun is shining, that there's light and there's brightness behind everything. It's there, even if not visible to my eye at that moment. I know that as I relax into a sense of my own being, of checking in and feeling what it is I am feeling, what it is that is filling me with delight, filling me with anything other than delight, and knowing that the truth of my being is that I am a divine spiritual being. And from that realization, I know that I am connected to everything that I see. Every flower, every insect, every flying bird, every bee, everything is part of who I am and all created the same. I know that everything that is created, trees and rocks and flowers, although they are in different forms, I know that there is one source of all of these things. And so I allow myself to be open to expand my understanding, to open my heart even bigger and allow my mind to stay in rest. Allow all of the thoughts and just to lay there with no energy on anything, but to just participate in what is in front of me at this moment. As I recognize beauty, I know instinctively that in order to do that, to know what beauty is, I must have that beauty inside of me already. And that as I hear the birds singing and I look at their beautiful colors, I know that in order to do that within me is that ability to recognize the sound of the creatures, of the birds, and to recognize the leaves of the tree, to recognize the majesty of the trees. I know that I am overwhelmed at this moment for the majesty of things, for the beauty of nature. As I look at these everything that is there for me to participate in and to enjoy and to appreciate, I know and need to be aware of my ability, my awesomeness, my greatness within me, to recognize that, to know that I have all of those things inside of me. I know that That as we look at the seasons as they change, we know that each one of them has an absolute beauty of its own. And not in comparing one thing to another, but appreciating what the eye is showing you at that moment. What is it that you see in clarity, without confusion, without judging, without figuring it out, but just being and seeing with your inner eye, with your soul, with your heart, the beauty of all of the things that are surrounding you. Nature is what we are. Nature is who we are. And within us is that connection, that oneness, that because of our creation from the same source. Life is so good. And the beauty that surrounds us is the biggest thing that we can focus on for our reminders and our power and our strength and our remembering of our oneness with all. What would happen if we were to look at all things knowing that God in them mattered? That every tree and rock and bush and flower and bird it's all who we are. It's God in expression. It's spirit showing its many multiple sides. It's envisioning of life in many forms. Being out in nature is filling up our fuel, filling up our tanks with the things that remind us of our beauty and our connection with the divine. Since the divine is the only source of all things seen and unseen, all ideas known and unknown, all things outward and inward, I am in it right now, and I open myself up to a deeper understanding, a more focused appreciation, and a desire to be out in nature, in my second home, knowing that wherever I am, God is in me and around me and in everything I see. I meditate in the silence for that beauty. Let's just take a moment to do that, to look at the slides and just to think, or look out your window and say, thank you, universe, divine being, for showing me and reminding me of all the beauty of life that is around me, and that I too am that beauty. I too am that life. Breathe in and release. Breathe in the beauty of the water and of the slime, the trees growing and laying there, having spent their one part of their journey on a tree, and now are laying beside it, moving into the next transition. Breathe in the pictures and the reminders of the love of the source of all things created. I can never be separated from God for one single instant. My awareness of the presence of God in my mind and in my heart is my answer to every seeming problem, every issue, creating clarity in my life. Wherever I am, in the valleys, in the mountains, on the seashore, I am always created and surrounded by the love of the universal mind. I look at the beauty of all living things and remember that I am one of those beautiful living things created with joy and harmony and peace and beauty and light and life and love. I am all of these things right here in this moment. And I look to see how well I treat this perfect me, how well I revere this perfect me, and how blessed I am to know this perfect me. Use these words as your mantra for today and for the rest of the week and for any time of the day when you feel less than the perfection you were created to be and created are currently right here, right now in this moment. I bless you. I love you. And so it is.
Good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Eugene. My name is Linda Finley. I am the spiritual director here, and we're delighted you could join us, whether you're joining us live at this time or whether you are catching us later on YouTube or Facebook. We're grateful to have you with us. The center here has been serving the Eugene Springfield area for 51 years now, and for the past 15 months, we've been serving the world through our live broadcasts. And I want to say hi to Rose in Hungary and Dana in up in Alberta, and wherever you are and wherever you have come from to watch us today. Tim in Roanoke Park, wherever, we're welcome and love having you with us. The center here knows that spiritually empowered people live richer and fuller lives. That's the whole basis for our being. That's why we do what we do. And what we do then is inspire minds, open hearts, and empower lives using the principles of our teaching. We're grateful you could be with us today, and we trust that the message and everything that happens today is meaningful for you. I want to thank Reverend Trish Mackey for that beautiful meditation that she gave us. And right now what I'm going to do is share with you a a portion of our global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living around the world. We're doing a piece of it each week, and today's reading is, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. If we ever doubted that we are a globally connected, I think this pandemic has taught us that there is only one life, and we're all being impacted by that life and as that life. And what happens to one of us happens to all of us. And so we're being called not to simply care for ourselves, but to care for one another, to make sure that each of us is cared for and loved. And that's the whole basis of our teaching. I wandered into my very first Science of Mind Center back in 1994 in January and had never heard of it and went, oh my gosh, there's actually people who believe what I do, who are a tad bit Wiccan or pagan, who believe that there's spirit in everything, who believes that life is sacred. And I didn't know about it. And sadly, it seems we're still kind of a secret that not many people are as aware of as they ought to be, because I really believe that people are seeking what it is that we're offering. So if you have a friend that seems like they would vibrate with this, maybe share a link with them so that they can get an opportunity to see what it is that we do here. Today we're going to be talking about the idea that God, this too is God, which is a challenge in today sometimes. And we're going to be having, as you've met, Reverend Trish is going to be our practitioner for the day, and we have music from Phoebe Bloom, and all of it is going to hopefully conspire to make a good time for your soul today. So with that in mind, I'm going to call back Reverend Trish and ask her to do a treatment to set the tone. Hi, Trish.
Hi, Reverend Linda. Thank you so much. So I'm going to invite us to, again, take a moment to settle ourselves in and go within and bring ourselves present, body, mind, and spirit. You have given yourself such a gift to being here, again, whether it's live or whether it's some other time, but you're giving yourself a gift of being reminded of the awesome, priceless, one-of-a-kind person you are. So right here and right now, what I know is that there is a power in the universe greater than I am, and I can use it. And I do. I use it with every word that I speak, with every thought that I have, with every action I take or don't take. I know that the universe accepts what it is I present to it and claim for myself, and then goes into action to create it in form and give it back to me. I know that life is not static. It moves forward all the time, but it moves in the direction into which I have directed it and given it instructions and claimed what I want out of it. So right here and right now, I now claim for myself and for each person hearing my voice that today is the best day I have ever had. For it is a new day. It is a day that I can create by the choices I make, whatever they might be, for the things that I say, the words that come out of my mouth, and the things that I do for myself and for others. I know that the Center for Spiritual Living in Eugene is a place of coming together and being reminded of that power and presence that I have within me that is always there to support me and guide me and guard me and protect me in the way in which only my highest good shows up in my life. I now claim right here in this moment, and this moment, every moment that follows, that I am always open to listening to my inner guidance and knowing that that is my highest self speaking and connecting with the universe to say, is this what you want? Saying yes to all that I say. So I look at my life right here and right now. I look at the gift I've given myself for being present, for listening, to being an open vessel without judgment, with strictly openness and willingness to look at something in a new way, a new expanded way, and say, thank you. Thank you, universe, for showing me what I am thinking by the experiences that are coming into my life. I know that in gratitude lies the only reward, is being grateful for knowing that the universe always answers in the affirmative. And so I pick my words of what I choose to have experience and know that when something else shows up, I need to go back to me and relook at my words and my thoughts and my actions. And so I am so grateful for all of life, for life is a blessing given to each one of us, but not always allowed to be for a long period of time. Enjoy every moment, enjoy the gift that God has given us, that divine has given us. Live well, live joyful, be open, and know that the universe has your back and always will. Thank you for the gift you give yourself, and that's the love of yourself. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Reverend Trish. We are the gift that is forever giving whenever we are willing to receive. That's the whole. My friend Jim Moore, or no, pardon me, Brian Hines. I knew there was somebody from Visalia, but used to say, okay, when the flow starts slowing down, would say, all right, who's standing on the hose? Am I standing on the flow of good? Because oftentimes, as Emerson would say, we have to get our bloated nothingness out of the way in order to allow the good to unfold. Because somewhere in us, we got a little unworthy thing going on that's slowing down the good of God's yes. We have a practice each month where we do an affirmation all month long. And this month, we're going to actually get to do it one more week. We get to do it 5 times this month. So hopefully this one will really settle in. I'm going to say it out loud first. You should have it on your screen here very shortly, so you at home can say it with me, and you here can say it with me if you choose. I'm going to say it first, and then I'm going to say it a second time, which would be us saying it together. So for the first time, just kind of let it flow over you, through you, let it be with you. And the second time, if you choose, join me with it. So every day and every moment is a living invitation to participate freely and fully in life. I am someone's answered prayer. Every day and every moment is a living invitation to participate freely and fully in life. I am someone's answered prayer. And so it is indeed, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah. And so, speaking of someone's answered prayer, the amazing, the beautiful, the talented Phoebe Bloom is going to be offering music. There'll be a video right here before the talk and then following the offering at the end of the service. So be sure you stay for both of 3. I know one of these, I'm not sure whether it's the first one or the second one, Phoebe actually wrote for today. So take it away, Phoebe Bloom. We love you.
Are you afraid of water? Oh, my sweet, but do you let it get if God is love, and we're taught to fear God, then have we been taught to fear love, or just love fear? Well, have you made a bargain, my friend, with the Prince of Peace, or whatever you beseech, just hoping that your pain would end? Oh, if God is love and we're taught to fear God, then have we been taught to fear love, or just love fear? There are those out surveying future causes for future praying, leaning on their righteous shepherd's hook. And I'm no saint, but I won't be what I ain't. I know how it feels to be mistook. But will you come to see me as you once said, when my days are almost gone? Will you listen to this song? Or will you tune me out and kneel by my bed? Oh, if God is love and we're taught to fear God, then have we been taught to fear love, or just love fear? Do you breathe underwater? Do you breathe underwater?
Ah, Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe. We've been taught to love fear. What a powerful, powerful message. Thank you. Ah, today we're looking at the idea. The title of the talk is "This Too Is God." I saw it first written, "This Too Is God?" ? This too is God? And that's kind of how we need to look at things. We've been doing kind of a back to the basics this month because of the nature of the series that we're doing and the theme that we're doing. I really felt that it was essential for us to really get clear what it is as religious scientists, as members of Centers for Spiritual Living, what it is that we believe, what it is that we adhere to. And the first one is that whatever it is that we call God is all there is. God is not an entity. God is all there is. God is the energy behind the entity. God is not a being, but the very nature of being. And we don't have to call it the G word. We call it spirit or the universe or quantum physics or the source or the field or whatever. It really does not matter what name we give to it. And yet I would say it does matter, because if the name puts any kind of a limit on it, get rid of the name. Because what we believe in is without limit. Also, We create our experience through our beliefs and our actions. Whatever it is, if I want to know what I believe, I just need to look at what I'm experiencing. When I look at the world in which I live, there is a place in me that created this. There is a place in me that believes this is possible. There's a place in me that believes in war. There's a place in me that believes in destruction in Palestine. There's a place in me that believes in pandemics. There is a place in me that believes in lack and limitation and homelessness. It doesn't mean that I want them, but it means that I believe I hold a construct of limitation and fear that allows these things to become my experience. And so that's an invitation, as Dr. Michael Beckwith would say, the evening news is our invitation to prayer. If I see something that excites me, incites me, upsets me, angers me, frustrates me, that is my call to prayer. That is my call to realign with the one, because the truth is there's only one of us here. And each of us is out picturing that one in our own way. And some of us have forgotten who we are. And it's up to the rest of us to see past their behaviors to the truth of who they are. And that is how this too is God. In spirituality, we are centers for spiritual living, after all. There is a tendency to pretty things up, to look on the positive side, to make sure everything is all lovey and good and fun and wondrous. And there is no thing wrong with being optimistic. There is no thing wrong with seeing past the behavior to the truth. But just because it isn't pretty doesn't mean it isn't spiritual. I have people who say, oh, money's not spiritual. Oh, that's not spiritual. Oh, drugs aren't spiritual. Oh, homelessness isn't spiritual. Oh, murder isn't spiritual. It's either all God or it's not. There is no exclusion. Now, I'm going to share with you, I shared it on my Facebook page a few weeks ago, and I'm going to share it again here with you on Sunday, because it is really the heart of our teaching, and it's the part of the teaching that most of us don't get. So we've got a guy on Sunday on a nice robe with a thing and his big songbook out, and he's singing, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. And there's a little possum sitting down next to him that says, you left out a verse. The guy looks at him and said, how's that? So the possum and a snake and a spider sitting together says, you left out a verse. We'll sing it for you. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Things that blight and putrefy, all parasites and light, all things weird and horrible, not just the stuff that's nice. Every mildew spore that blossoms, flesh-eating virus too. Maggots on the roadkill were made by you-know-who. All things gross and poisonous, all buzzards in the sky. God made ticks with Lyme disease, although we can't say why. The guy with the songbook says, that's never going to make it into the hymnal. And the little animals say, well, maybe not your hymn. The bottom line is, it's all God. Ticks with Lyme disease are God. Roadkill is God. Dog poop is God. The things we see on the evening news that make us want to throw things at the TV are God. This too is God. God is not exclusionary. Even when people who are born in perfection wander away from their perfection and become fear-based beings, they're still God. Even when they join racist groups, they're still God. No matter what is going on, The coronavirus is God expressing. The bombs are God expressing through the people who have forgotten who they are. There is no exclusion in God. Now, a few months back, I mentioned this book, Everything is Spiritual by Rob Bell. If you haven't bought it yet, go get it. If you have bought it and haven't started reading it, put everything else down and start reading. Or ignore me, and it's okay. It's all good. Whatever you decide to do, I'm going to read to you today some stuff that pertains to this because he says it so beautifully, and oftentimes when we hear it in another voice, maybe it'll come through us a little better. In the beginning, roughly 13.8 billion years ago, the universe was a single point of infinitely compressed mass. At first, there was just a single point, and then there was a big bang. And in the split second after that bang, there were only particles. Bits and pieces of swirling, leaping, frenetic energy, that was it. Nothing else existed, just those particles. The universe comes from one point, and then the first thing it did was become parts. It's one, and then there's a bang, and then the one becomes parts. All those different particles then, all those parts, all existed within a whole. Different particles, yet ultimately all united as one. Belonging is the natural state of the universe. It splits apart. It divides. It becomes something new. But everything in that new state still belongs as part of the one. All exclusions have only ever taken place within one massive inclusion. We've all belonged the entire time. Every single attempt anyone ever made to make anyone else feel like they didn't belong or weren't a part of it, or they weren't worthy of participating, all happened within a larger unity and belonging. When you feel excluded, you're at that very moment in. You've always been in. You've always belonged. And then, roughly 3 minutes into the life of the universe, those particles began to bond with other particles. 3 minutes into the life of the universe, over 13 billion years ago, we know what happened. Someone figured this out? Gotta have science. 3 minutes in, particles began bonding with other particles. This bonding produced atoms. The universe hadn't seen atoms up until that point. Atoms were new. Particles were coming together with other particles, created something new that hadn't existed before. And then the universe kept going. Because roughly 300,000 years into the life of the universe, those atoms began to bond with other atoms to form molecules. The universe had never seen molecules before. Molecules were new. Molecules are made of bonded atoms that are made of bonded particles. And molecules weren't just new, they were bigger and more complex. When particles first banded with more particles, they were joining to form something bigger and more than themselves, atoms. Same thing happened with atoms. When atoms bonded with other atoms, they formed something bigger and more complex than themselves, molecules. Have you ever heard someone say that they're volunteering somewhere or joining a humanitarian organization or leaving their job to go to work somewhere else, and the reason they gave for this is, I just want to be part of something bigger than myself? Yes, of course they do. Everything in the universe does. Particles come together with other particles to join something bigger than themselves called atoms. Same with atoms, molecules, everything has a drive to be a part of something bigger than itself. That's how the universe becomes a universe. The universe was just getting started because at some point, 9 billion years into the life of the universe, molecules began to bond with other molecules that formed cells. The universe had never seen cells before. Cells were new. This is a pattern. Something bonded with something like it, and that introduced something new, something more complex, something that previously didn't exist, something the universe had never seen before, all because of a drive to bond, to unite, to come together. And where does this drive come from? It comes from within. This power, drive, force, movement, engine, motion that has kept the universe moving forward for 13 billion years, causing things to unite continually as new forms come into existence, comes from deep within the universe itself. It's the most basic nature of reality, to unite, to come together, to make something new, to seek out new forms and designs, to move beyond itself, to keep going. We crave coming together with others because this is what the entire universe has been doing for billions and billions and billions of years. This man is brilliant. This man is God expressing. And he's talking science. But what he's talking is pure spirit. What he's talking is the nature of the one to become the many, to reunite, to become the one. This is what we're here to do. It's all God. This too is God. David Hawkins talks about the limitless power of love, and God is love. Love is the self-givingness of spirit. Love is the creative, connective power. There are only two energies in the world, love and fear is simply the belief that love doesn't exist. Fear is simply the belief that love doesn't exist, that love is not there, that love is not strong enough. So, my friends, I'm going to invite you to look at the idea that you have within you a love that is more powerful than any fear you have. No matter what is going on in your life that feels worthy of fear, there is a love that is greater than that. There is a love that empowers you to be more than that. Marianne Williamson, I'm going to give you a quote by her. The whole theme this month is a holy, holy uprising, an entirely sacred rising up. And it's a call to put this teaching to work in our lives. We are centers for spiritual living. We are not centers for spiritual thinking about it. We are centers for spiritual living, which means doing, which means putting these actions to work. And Marianne Williamson has a quote here which just rocks it. Our love for one another must be more than a feeling. It must be put into action. In order to love in a way that overrides the forces of disunity, we must love with as much conviction as that with which some people hate. Easy love will not do the job. Convenient love will not do the job. Only a fierce love, a brutally honest love, a love that is willing to look squarely into the face of a political and economic system that refuses to love, will be powerful enough to change the world. We are called to be fierce love in this world. That's what Centers for Spiritual Living is about, is a ferocity of love. It's last week I talked about, the picking 6 people you like and the qualities they have. I've been doing that exercise for years, and I do it about once or twice a year to just kind of see where I am. And about a year ago, I had many of the same people, but I find as I change, the qualities I appreciate in those people change. Might be something to that. Okay? But anyway, something entered in that it was a quality I had never listed before. Ferocity. Fierceness. Not ugly fierce, but magnificent fierce. Fierce love. Mary Ann talks about. When I am so impassioned, when there is a ferocity in the feelings that I have, in the joyous, loving, creative feelings that I have, those feelings have to be fierce in my love of the world, to be fierce in my love of one another. Viktor Frankl talked about that ferocity in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, when he said, "You cannot make me hate you. I will not give you that power." There's a ferocity in that steadfastness. No matter what you do, you will not be able to make me see your behavior and not see you as the source of spirit that you are. This is what we're called to do. I saw some article this morning about someone in the news who made some ridiculous claim that is easily refutable. I'm not even going to go into it here, but I was called to be angry, and I allowed myself to feel that righteous indignation, because to deny my feelings is to deny the truth. But then I looked past that behavior to the incredible fear this man must be feeling to make up stories to justify the behavior. This too is God. You cannot make me hate you. I will not give you that power. That's fierce love. And that's what we're called to do. We are made of pure spirit, and each of us has within our own nature the seed of perfection. However, in our ignorance of our true nature and with our misuse of the law, we often bring about suffering. As spiritual individuals, we strive to heal suffering by remembering our human nature, our true nature. That's a paraphrasing of Ernest Holmes. We overcome suffering by remembering our true nature. Our true nature, realigning with the one, remembering the mass before the bang, the oneness at the hub of wheel. This is what we're called to do, to bring this teaching to life in the world, to bring this teaching out into the world where people can see it and say that they want it. We have to live it in such a way that people see our fierce love and say, I want what she's having. We're asked to say, do not be confused over appearances of form. We must name the condition and then know the truth. We don't ignore what's going on. We don't pretty it up. We don't make it all lovey and sweet and nice. But we don't do that. We say, this is ugly. This makes me feel bad. And the truth of it is, there is a greater power in the universe that overcomes this in a heart. The truth of this is, God is all this. The truth of this is life and light and love and power and peace. And then we invest more energy into the truth than we do into the appearances of the condition. So we're not denying the condition. We don't say the condition doesn't exist. We acknowledge it and then say, but the truth is, we had it in class recently, and it was a nice aha moment for a couple of my students. There's facts and there's truth, and the facts really are, but there's a bigger truth that overrides those facts, that makes those facts disappear. We are centers for spiritual living. We are centers for spiritual loving. This too is God. Seeing love. Seeing the power of love over everything that makes our heart shrink, so that our heart has the freedom to expand and to love. This is why we're here. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking whatever part of this speaks to your soul and moving it forward. And now I would like to call back Reverend Trish to bless the offering, and then following that, Phoebe will be singing another song.
Thank you, Reverend Linda. That was amazing. And I know that that as I give back to the universe, I am always so blessed, even more than I have been normally. But I came across a book from one of the New Thought movers and shakers years and years ago, and who talked about prosperity. And I do want to just share a little bit of that with you, knowing that that the opportunity and the gift you gave yourself was to hear whatever it was that you needed to hear. And as Reverend Linda said, take away with you that which feels right for you at this moment. You know, once you hear something, you never can forget it, even if you don't act on it at that point. You probably will at some other point. So, you know, giving in the way that you can. We have many ways in which you can do that, by phoning in, or by going online, by mailing, you know, so many ways to do that. And they're showing you now these opportunities: PayPal, Breeze, mail. I mean, you know, it's just it's so easy to give gratitude, and I want to share this with you, just in gratitude for what we've had today. This is Jack Addington. He said, "I am prosperity. The substance of wealth is within me." Wow. Goes on to say this, which I just really loved, and it said, "I am employed by God, who rewards my services with lavish praise and generous remuneration. I think prosperity. I speak prosperity. I am prosperity. My every act produces prosperity. I dare to give as freely as I receive, knowing that I cannot outgive God. I think prosperity and I demonstrate prosperity. And for this, I am most grateful." There's no limit. You cannot outgive God. You cannot outthink God either. So open your heart, step up and do something different than you've done before. Change the amount on your check. Add a second 10 to 2 checks in. Who cares? But do something, act differently in order for that to start that pump going. Just like pumping water out of a pump on a farm, you need to pump it first, and you get nothing out of it until all of a sudden it gets it moving and where you can see it. I'm so grateful for all that has been given to me this morning, and my check is already written. I write them all at the beginning of the month and just have them ready to go. So with gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember that gratitude is the only answer that the universe wants from you, is just a thank you. And this is a way of doing it. And so it is.
To Live is to Fly by Townes Van Zandt.
Won't say I love you, babe. Won't say I need you, babe. I'm gonna get you, babe. I will not do you wrong. Living's mostly wasting time, and I waste my share of mine, but it never feels too good, so let's don't take too long. Well, you're soft as glass, and I'm a gentle man, and we got the sky to talk about and the world to lie upon. Days up and down they come like rain on a conga drum. Forget most, remember some, but don't turn away. Everything is not enough, and nothing is too much to bear. Well, where you've been is good and gone. All you keep is getting there. Well, lives to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. It's goodbye, oh my friends, it's time to go again. I think of all the poetry and the picking down the line. I miss the system here, the bottom's low and the trouble's clear, but it don't pay to think too much on the things you leave behind. Well, I may be gone, but it won't be long. I'll be bringing back the melody and the rhythm that I find. We all got holes to fill, and these holes are all that's real. Some fall on you like a stone, sometimes you dig your own. The choice is yours to make, and time is yours to take. Well, some dive into the sea, some toil upon the stone. Well, to live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. Shake the dust off of your wings and the tears out of your eyes.
Thank you, Phoebe. As always, wondrous. I appreciate it very much. So we're ready for announcements. I know you've all been waiting with bated breath for that. First one is after service in about 2 minutes, there's going to be a Zoom room hangout for everybody. The link is on the slide, but I believe someone has also put it in the chat. And it's also in the newsletter that went out, and you can find that in the Facebook group. So join everybody. It's a half hour long, and I think you'll join it. There's still time to sign up for the women's retreat. It is the first Friday, Saturday, Sunday in June. It's completely online, led by Christy Snow. I've noticed this week suddenly everybody who was, oh, I was going to do that, has started signing up. So if you're interested, it's $100 for the whole weekend. There's a Friday evening session, 3 sessions on Saturday morning, afternoon, and evening, and then a Sunday morning session. Christy is an amazing healer, singer, teacher, minister, and has facilitated our women's retreats in the past and is truly, it's about beloved connections. And we were just talking today about our need for connections. And so if this speaks to you, please sign up. And if you need extra time to pay for it, let me know and we can work that out. But we'd love to have you be part of it. Mondays at 2 p.m., integrative yoga with Sean. Sean Ferguson, one of our practitioners, is leading this. And you follow, there's a link in the newsletter or on our website. And if you get onto the link, then that will, or if you sign up, then they will send you a link to the Zoom class. You do not have to be an experienced yoga person. You can do this in a chair if you need to, but please do it. It is a fabulous spiritual and physical experience. And Thursdays at 7:30 in the morning, Angela Alcantar is doing her Ho'oponopono forgiveness meditation that is really, really a blessing. There's no charge for that. Just check in, and the link again is in the newsletter or on our website. Angela is starting on Thursday evenings in June, Thursday late afternoon and early evening, a racial healing handbook for those of us who feel that there is work to be done on the systems in the world. Look on the website for a link to this and sign up for it. I think you will find it very worth your while. And Angela's got one of her Joy of Creating workshops on Saturday, the 5th of June. And that's 2 weeks from now. And the men's group 2 weeks from now on Sunday is on a Zoom meeting, hoping to get back to breakfast meetings soon. But for now, it is still on Zoom, and the link is again on our website or in the newsletter. And another great workshop with Angela on Saturdays from 9 to 11, revealing bias. There are many of us who were not raised and don't feel we were racially motivated, that we are racist in any way, shape, or form. And yet we have what are known as implicit biases, societal biases that we didn't even realize we had. And this beautiful class helps us to awaken to those biases, because we can't let go of what it is we don't realize is within us. So I heartily encourage you to sign up for one of these. So I think that's it. That is it. Thank you for being with us. If you're interested, get into the Zoom meeting and join them. And we're looking hopefully to be starting totally live services. Well, not totally, because we'll still have the live streams for those of you who live where you can't come in person, but hopefully in July, not necessarily the 1st of July, but very, 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 very much in the month of July. If you're interested in helping us get set up, being on a greeting team, being someone who wants to help with anything in the service, contact the office and we will get you on a list and a team. Thank you so much. We are Centers for Spiritual Living. Let's get out there and live this teaching, and let's do it with love. And that's a wrap.